On the night of June 21st, 2012, around 1 a.m., I received a call from the Summit County Sheriff's Office advising me that they were going to be taking a missing persons report. I arrived at Domino's about 1:21 a.m. The manager was really concerned about his driver, Ashley Biggs, because she had not returned from her last delivery, which was very unlike her.
The call for pizza came in at 11:42 p.m. 9 minutes later, Ashley Biggs went out the door to make her delivery.
The location that she was supposed to deliver the pizza, it's a mile and a half away. Knowing the area and knowing that the businesses there are never open that late, it struck me as odd.
Ashley Biggs is 25 years old, the mother of a 6-year-old daughter. Her life partner of 3 years, Brittany, also receives an alarmed call from the pizza shop. At Brittany's request, she's interviewed in shadow.
I got a phone call from the manager, who's a good friend of both mine and Ashley's. He said to me, "Have you talked to Ashley? Because she went on a delivery and she never made it back." I thought he was pranking me, and I said, "Oh, that's not funny." And he yelled back, "I'm not kidding." I was like, oh my God.
Police zero in on the address given for the pizza delivery order.
Ashley Biggs had made a delivery on West Turkeyfoot Lake Road. I wanted to check the address out. It was the business area. As I'm driving to the location, I knew she could not have gotten any type of accidents because I would have seen a traffic accident, and there was none.
When I arrived at the location at 2 a.m., I noticed it was a business that was closed. To me, that was weird. That business shouldn't have been getting a pizza delivered there at that time of the hour.
And it's very dark, there's no lighting. There was no vehicles in the front parking lot, so we decided to go around back to see if there was anything there. I came across a big puddle of what appeared to be blood. There was change spread across the parking lot. It looked like there had been some type of struggle.
There was no car. There was no delivery vehicle. There was no Ashley Biggs there.
With the amount of blood that was in the parking lot, I knew that we had a serious problem.
My hope is that we could find Ashley. It made us concerned that she needed attention right away.
I saw all the cops, and I immediately had the worst feeling in my gut. And, I told him, my partner's name is Ashley Biggs. I couldn't get my words out fast enough.
5 years before she fell for Brittany, Ashley was in a serious relationship with a man named Chad Cobb. They met when Ashley was only 17 and he was 22. Within a year, Ashley and Chad moved in together. And at 18 years old, Ashley gave birth to a baby girl. Ashley and Chad never married, and by the time their daughter was 1 year old, the couple broke up. They agreed to share custody until Ashley made a major life decision.
In 2008, Ashley decided to join the Army, and she was so excited. She says, "Mom, what a great way to better myself. What a great way to further my education."
When she went into the Army, she had to sign full custody of her daughter over to Chad. The agreement was that when she got out of the Army, their parenting would go back to 50-50.
Ashley's time in the Army was short-lived. After basic training, she was medically discharged for asthma.
When Ashley left the Army, Chad completely cut off all means of communication, basically keeping their daughter from her.
Chad's phone number had changed when she called it. When she went to his home, he had moved.
Around this time, Ashley and Brittany began dating.
We were happy, but she hadn't talked to her daughter for about a year. This wore on her a lot, and she finally said, "I have a right to be her mom and be in her life. If I can't do it civilly through him, I'm gonna do it civilly through a court."
In 2011, Ashley was awarded temporary full custody, pending a judge's final decision. Chad was allowed limited time with their daughter. At the pizza shop where Ashley went missing 2.5 hours earlier, Brittany talks to officers on the scene.
I knew exactly where to point the finger. And I told him she and Chad Cobb are involved in a very, very nasty custody battle.
4 hours after Ashley disappeared, police are on the hunt for her ex-boyfriend, Chad Cobb. Police learned that Chad Cobb drives a black Lincoln Navigator.
Once we didn't find Chad at his residence, we went to the home where the black Lincoln Navigator was registered, and that home belonged to Chad Cobb's grandparents.
Chad's grandparents lived just a half-mile down the road from the delivery location where police found signs of a struggle.
Once they got there, the officers walked down towards the back of the property where there was a barn. And upon walking behind the barn, they located the Navigator parked next to the wood line. There was 4 children in the car and a female. Chad was nowhere to be seen.
Sitting inside the vehicle are Chad's current wife, Erica, and 4 children, including Ashley's daughter.
While Ashley was in the Army, Chad had moved on with his life. He had dated a girl previously to Ashley, and her name was Erica, and he ended up marrying Erica. She had a previous child, and then they had 2 more on their own, and then they had Ashley's baby.
Erica was there in the vehicle with her 4 children at that time in the morning. To me, that's awful weird. Why would you be out there with your children at that time of night?
While talking to Erica, police hear noises in the woods.
The officers entered the woods with their weapons out, not knowing what they would encounter. They found Chad out there in the woods.
This was very strange. Why is Chad hiding in the woods at 4:30 in the morning, so close to where there was a struggle?
Brought him out of the woods, and he was placed in the back of the police car, and the same as Erica. I asked him about Ashley Biggs, and he really wasn't forthcoming, and he couldn't help us, is what he said. We kind of had an idea that Chad might be involved, but why Erica would be out there with him at that time of night, she really didn't want to talk to us about anything.
Less than 12 hours after Ashley Biggs was reported missing, investigators have located her car.
Once we got there and I walked up, it was gruesome. It was a rough scene, and not the outcome that obviously we wanted to find.
We found a female, which was presumed to be Ashley, in the back seat. She had zip ties around her neck and different parts of her body. You could definitely tell that she had went through some major trauma, a lot of struggle. She had some head injury. It was definitely a violent scene.
Police also find an insulated pizza bag in the vehicle and pizza orders from that night stuck to the steering wheel, including the delivery order called in when Ashley went missing.
We were confident that Chad Cobb was responsible for killing Ashley Biggs, and we decided to go ahead and charge him with aggravated murder. That night, he was taken to the Summit County Jail where he was kept until his arraignment, and bond was set at $1.5 million. The medical examiner confirmed that Ashley had died from asphyxiation due to the zip tie around her neck, but that she also suffered multiple injuries to her head and to the rest of her body. Chad Cobb was arraigned and told that he would be facing the potential for death.
With Chad behind bars, investigators still have one more mystery to solve.
Information we learned from the manager at the Domino's Pizza about the phone call was that it was a female that said her name was Jen. We had no idea who Jen is.
And now the question was, who made that call?
Chad Cobb pleads guilty to 9 charges, including aggravated murder, aggravated robbery, and kidnapping.
He was no longer facing the death penalty and would go to prison for the rest of his life and never be eligible to get out.
Chad's mother was granted guardianship and custody of Chad and Ashley's daughter.
The case wasn't done, not in my mind. We still know there's another person out there. There's still a female that was probably involved in this. While listening to jail calls from Chad to Erica, it's noticeable that their relationship is struggling.
In the letter to Detective Hitchens, Chad drops a bombshell.
He clearly says that Erica is the one that was involved. She was Jen, she's the one that made the call, and that she is the manipulative, cunning individual that's the mastermind behind everything.
He was explaining to us that Erica is the one who drove him there in the Lincoln Navigator and dropped him off, and then followed him back to the cornfield to drop Ashley's body and car off on the way back to their house.
7 years after the murder of Ashley Biggs, investigators receive a stunning piece of evidence from Chad's mother, Cindy Cobb.
She dropped off a recording device with approximately 3 hours worth of secretly recorded information between her and Erica.
At one time, I mean, you told me face to face that you made the phone call and you set a meeting up.
There's no lie in that. Chad said, this is what we're going to do, and this is your part of it, and I carried out my part in it.
Hearing that audio recording was huge. It shows that she had knowledge, shows that she was part of it, that she set this all in motion by calling and ordering the pizza.
Erica Stefanko is charged with murder, aggravated murder, kidnapping, and aggravated robbery. 1 year after Erica Stefanko's arrest, her trial begins.
At this time, regarding count 15, the jury has found the defendant, Erica Stefanko, guilty of the offense of aggravated murder.
The jury found Erica Stefanko guilty of aggravated murder and murder, and we believe the jury got it correct. Erica Stefanko was sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility after 30 years. She will not see the light of day for a minimum of 30 years.